Stand by, ladies. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sisters Talk. We do a love talk every month. Love symbolizing leave out violence every day. Today, we are meeting with some dynamic sisters as we observe National Teen Dating Violence Month. Every day, the ladies on this panel address, support, and advocate against domestic violence. 1 out of 3 teens are abused or know someone who has been abused. During this pandemic, many of our young people have experienced all forms of not just domestic and dating violence, but all sorts of ills. And so tonight, we want to bring some awareness to teen dating violence in our community and all around our surroundings. Our special guests have tons of experience, and we're so grateful that they're joining us tonight. But before we get started, we know prayer is the answer, and we thank God for our sister Tracy Jefferson, who's going to join us and lead us in prayer. Tracy.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. So we're going to have a word of prayer so we can bow our heads, close our eyes. Father, in the name of Jesus, Lord, we thank you. First and foremost, we thank you for dying on the cross for our sins, Father. Thank you for forgiving us for our sins so that our prayers can be heard and answered. Lord, as we go before you tonight, let the words of our mouth and the meditation of our hearts be acceptable unto you. Let us say something that will change someone's heart. Let someone ask, what must they do to be saved? Let someone ask, how can I escape where I am? Have someone to just reach out and cry out, and just give us the words to say to them tonight. Father, we love you. We thank you. We give your name the glory, all honor, and praise. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, Tracy. We are going to share our experience as domestic violence advocates in the community, as well as just an overall of what it looks like and what our teens feel about teen dating violence and who they are. Brother Anthony.
Hi, I'm 17 Editor-in-Chief Anne Choquette. 1 in 5 teens who've been in a serious relationship report being hit, slapped, or pushed by their boyfriend or girlfriend. When you're aware of dating abuse, you can be more confident in your decisions. In every relationship, you have rights. Be aware of dating abuse, be confident in your decisions, watch, learn, and tell a friend.
I have the right to always be treated with respect.
I have the right to be in a healthy relationship.
I have the right to not be hurt physically or emotionally.
I have the right to refuse sex or affection at any time.
I have the right to have friends or activities apart from my girlfriend.
I have the right to end a relationship.
I pledge to always treat my girlfriend with respect.
I pledge to never hurt my partner physically, verbally, or emotionally.
I pledge to not be controlling or manipulative in my relationship.
I pledge to take responsibility for myself and my actions.
Abuse is never deserved and it's never your fault. Be confident, aware, and remember, love is respect.
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 Please visit loveisrespect.org to sign the Digital Dating Bill of Rights.
Make your own statement about teen dating abuse.
Those are our experiences as an advocate and as a supporter of domestic violence awareness and prevention. Through all of our programs, we have tried to emphasize the importance of knowing your self-worth and the fact that love doesn't hurt. Our first guest has been a big part of our story. She has rocked the runway during our Silent Tears No More events. She has also been a voice, and she is the founder and CEO of Lydia's Voice. She has her own podcast, and she's an author. We welcome and thank you for joining us today, our sister Lisa Council. Welcome, Lisa. We're glad to have you.
Thank you so much. Glad to be here. Thank you. My name is Lisa Council. I am a survivor of domestic violence, teen dating violence, and I also lost my only sister to domestic violence 28 years ago. Domestic violence started for me at a very early age, at the age of 13, or you know what, as far as I can remember, but I'm quite sure early on in that. I was in 7th grade at the time, and I met a young boy, and I, at that age, I had a crush on him, and he convinced me to leave school one day after school and to go to his house. And without me even thinking, one, I did know better. I knew that I should be going home after school, but I really wanted this guy to like me. And so my answer was yes, not thinking about, okay, is this wrong? What's going to happen? Is anyone going to be home with him? So when we got there, no one was home, and he raped me. The first thing I want to say to everyone tonight is that no means no. When you say no, that should be the end of it. I was raped, and as a result, I did become pregnant. I did not have the baby. During that time as a teen, that following year, my parents and I, we relocated to another part of the city. And it was just something that we never discussed about in my household again. And of course, I didn't start showing, well, I was already showing signs, but, acting out, bad behavior, isolation, hyperactive, aggressiveness. And oftentimes as teens, when you're acting this way, the first thing that you hear from adults is that, oh, she's just bad, or he's just bad, or, they're just acting out, or they're just showing off. But no, children and teens have feelings too. They're human beings. They have feelings. And oftentimes you grow up in households where it's, you don't speak unless you're spoken to. Parents have the final say because they're adults. Parents know it all because they are an adult. So oftentimes teens grow up in a household where they really don't have a voice, or their voice isn't allowed to be heard. And what statistics show us, just statistics of what's being reported, is that 1 in 11 females and 1 in 15 males in high school report having experienced some type of physical dating abuse. 33% of adolescents in America are victims of verbal, emotional, sexual, and physical abuse. And teens who suffer from abuse are subject to long-term consequences such as alcoholism, drug addiction, eating disorders, thoughts of suicide, and violent behavior. 8 states within the U.S. do not consider violent dating relationships domestic abuse. That's very sad. And one of the key principles I always like to ask, adults as well as teens is, what does your household look like? Why do your teen think it's okay to be in an abusive relationship? Because oftentimes it goes back to the household too. Teens are taught and children are taught, you do as I say and not as I do. But we all know as adults who are tuning in tonight, and us who are panels, on the panel, is that kids don't do as we say. They emulate what they see. So oftentimes children and teens think that it's okay to be in abusive relationships, or they really don't know actually what it does look like because they're seeing the same things at home. Most adults don't think that their children are victims of domestic abuse because it's not happening to them. Well, if your kid is living in a home where there's domestic violence, they are victims of domestic violence. Some of the symptoms that you may want to, be on the lookout for as teens or guardians, friends, adults, teachers, is when you see that a child has withdrawn from their family and their peers and their, usual activities. Also changes in behavior such as aggression, what I spoke on earlier. That was me. I became very aggressive. I always wanted to fight. I never started fights, but I just felt like I always had to defend myself. anger, hostility, hyperactivity, also signs of depression, anxiety, fear, and just the loss of self-confidence, and also frequent absences from your, normal activities and schools. And me, I'm a mom who's raising, which I can't believe, a young adult now, a college student. And what I always teach my child or tell my child is that be very wary of people who move too fast, want to become friends too fast. Be very wary of people who are very clingy. Some folk are just clingy by nature. Be very wary of folk who try to persuade you to do things that you don't want to do, such as sex. Know when you're ready for sex. Don't let anyone try to persuade you to have sex. Try to persuade you to do drugs. Try to persuade you to do alcohol. Try to persuade you not to be around other friends or get jealous when you are around other friends. Be very wary of, boyfriend and girlfriend when you get into that touch and go. What does that mean, as young teens, when they want, access to your phones, when they want your keys to your locker, when they want the combinations to your locker, when they're calling you constantly, nonstop. I had my daughter had a friend, and she would call her all the time. And one of the things I said as a mom is, you want to cut that right now. This is not going to pan out too good. And also, you just want to be wary of people or friends, boyfriend, girlfriends who always extend negativity. They're belittling you. They're name calling. They tease you. They hurt your feelings. They also will say that their behavior is based on jokes. Oh, I was just joking. You're taking things personal. So I would say be very, leery of that type of behavior. And if you ever to a point where you feel like you are in an unhealthy relationship, reach out to someone that you trust, not just telling, your friends that will go back and tell another friend and then another friend, but, really talk to someone that you can trust in secret. And I just thank you so much for having me tonight. And I just pray that we continue to do all that we can do to save our young teens and young adults.
Thank you, Lisa. That was short. I wanted to hear more. You had so much depth to your conversation, and your passion in terms of advocating is just a much needed gift. I want to thank you. We're going to return back for Q&As. We're going to introduce our next great guest. I appreciate that. And she is coming in from Ohio. And that's my sister, Chris Styles. Hello, Chris. Hello. Chris,
you don't know how excited I am to be here.
We're glad you're here. She is the CEO, and she's the founder, executive director, and all those other big titles of the Cassie Project. And most of all, I want you all to know I had a vision and I shared it with her. She took it. She helped me to see it to fruition in 5 minutes. Y'all know I move slow and steady. But I talked to her about the Real Men Don't Hit Women campaign, and she just gave it life. And that's why I say we're not here in this world to compete. We're here or to compare, but we're here to complete the assignment. And this is a sister who ran and helped me to make it happen. We worked together, and I thank you. This is our first time really being on a platform together.
Yeah.
But I thank you.
Long time coming.
I know. Welcome to the Love Talk. We're glad to have you tonight. Please share.
Yeah, I love the love, LOVE, the acronym. That is amazing to me. So as Carolyn said, I am Chris Styles, and I am the visionary of the Cassie Project, which is an acronym, KASSIE, and that is Keeping All Survivors Safe, Informed, and Emancipated. It's a non-traditional, more holistic platform for healing for survivors of sexual and domestic abuse. And the organization was launched and named after a girlfriend of mine who became a victim of domestic violence. And we were both with child at the same time. So after I managed to heal from that, it took me 12 years to do that. I was able to launch the organization in her honor and combine our causes, because both of us were guilty of not sharing our truths. And much like Lisa, I am a survivor of, I'm a survivor of sexual and domestic abuse. I'm a survivor of childhood rape and molestation, and also have been a victim of domestic violence in the family and on a personal level myself. But Cassie was a victim of domestic violence, and I didn't know that. So I combined our causes, and this is, you can't really tell when you're looking at the thing, but this is our awareness ribbon. So it's for those causes, specifically for survivors of sexual and domestic abuse. White is for childhood rape and molestation survivors. The multi-size purple polka dots are for domestic violence, and it means that it can happen to anyone at any time. Male, female, rich, poor, whatever the case may be. It can happen to anyone at any time. So my story is, as we were talking about the teens, and as we were talking about teens and letting you all know what to look for and what to, and how it could happen. So growing up, I lost my innocence at 5. And even then I was manipulated by my perpetrator, who had told me that if I told my daddy what was going on, that he wouldn't want me anymore and that he would send me away to live with other relatives. And I had actually just reunited with my father at the age of 5. And so I didn't want that. And he told me that no one would believe me because I was only 5 and that I would be making it up. And, and that wasn't easy. And my parents were drug and alcohol abusers. And so even coming to them, if I had, I don't know how that would have turned out, but I know that I was afraid of losing my daddy again. It ended up happening anyway, but not because I told. And I carried that for a long time. And growing up, I remember becoming curious. I think I was more curious about sexual activity and things like that, and what girls and boys do, because I had these experiences. And then I had a babysitter after that who molested me, and she was teaching me what, boys are supposed to do to girls when they're in relationships. And I was like 6. So that kind of started a ball rolling with me. I suffered from low self-esteem. And if you have a teenager who is usually very outgoing, who is confident, and all of a sudden they become really insecure and constantly questioning themselves and their value and things like that, you might want to take a moment and have that conversation, because it's a good chance that child has been affected by power-based personal violence, specifically sexual abuse. And growing up, I felt like there was a stamp on my forehead that said, if you want to violate someone, violate me. Because the situation just kept happening over and over and over again. And it was like, no matter what choices I was making, thinking that, okay, I know to stay away from this type of person, but thinking I'm making a choice by dealing with a different type of person, it didn't change. And so growing up, when I did share with my grandma, who I was raised by, then it went back to victim blaming. It was, you were being fast, fast tail girls, you shouldn't have been hanging out with those boys. So basically it became my fault. And at that point I was like, well, why the heck am I going to a trusted adult if no one's going to believe what I'm talking about? So it's no matter what I do, if I'm good or bad, whoever defines it, it doesn't matter, because no one's going to believe me. I was, early hypersexuality is definitely a marker for childhood sexual violence and trauma. So yeah, I feel like I could be a poster child for that. And in high school, after I graduated from high school, there was this boy that, everybody just thought was like amazing. It was the brother of a girl I went to school with, and he would come down to our school. And after I graduated, he invited me out. So I'm like, I'm a young adult, and like this most popular guy asked me out. So yeah, I'm going to go out. And I have no idea where we went. I don't remember. I do remember that he was a student at UC, University of Cincinnati. And he was like, I'm going to show you around campus. And I'm like, cool, because I'd never seen it. I'd never seen a campus. So he's showing me the football field and, the cafeteria and everything. And he shows me his dorm room. And that's where he raped me, in his dorm room. And he told me that if you scream, ain't nobody going to hear you but the bros, and they know what's up. And I was just terrified. So, and the bros being his fraternity brothers. So at that moment, it was like, I'm the only thing anybody ever wants from me is sex. No person is ever going to actually take me seriously. No one's going to love me for anything else but for what I can do for them sexually. And for a long time, as a young adult, I believed that about myself. And things like that do lead you into promiscuity, because I would willingly give myself to someone just so they wouldn't hurt me in the process. As long as you don't beat me up, as long as you don't slap me, as long as you don't, hurt me, then here, you can have it. And that's what my life was like growing up. And then I had children. And because I did not heal from what had happened to me, it pains me to say, but one of my children became the victim of incest. And I feel like it's because I didn't educate her, because I didn't say, this is not okay, whatever the case may be. So what I want to say to parents, and I'm not trying to get emotional, but too late, is that if your child comes to you and says that something happened, believe that child. I don't care if it was your brother that they're blaming. I don't care if it's their grandfather. Believe that child. Because I know for me as a child, I had no reason to make that stuff up. That's not something you make up. And as you watch your child develop, and when they get older, they're going to blame you. They're going to blame you and say, you had a chance to protect me and you didn't. So the Cassie Project, let's bring it back home. The Cassie Project, where we work with survivors, people who have been out of that situation, but have never been able to use their voice, who have never felt confident in using their voices, who were told, especially as minorities, what happens in this house stays in this house. You don't tell people our business. We don't go to therapists. We don't do those things. So we deal a lot with those survivors. And we have this couch, this big white couch that we take to the survivor's safe place when they're ready to start that journey of healing. And we have gone to downtown, we've gone to the bridge, we've gone to 50-yard lines at colleges, because that's where that survivor felt safe in sharing their story. And then once we share together, they autograph that couch as a commitment of leaving that portion of their life behind and moving into a healthy life after abuse. So as a parent and as a victim of childhood rape and molestation, listen to your babies. And if you are a young person listening to me, it's okay to use your voice. It's okay to tell. Your silence protects the perpetrator. And that is what we don't want, because that's telling them that they can do it to you again or to somebody else. So use your voice. And I guess that's my time. Thanks, Carolyn.
Wow, that is not your time. This is your time. It's your time. That's a powerful testimony. I'm so grateful that you trusted us to share your heart. And I pray that that word will save somebody, because you gave and dropped a serious nugget. And that's for all the women out here. As you all know, I shared a story earlier today about a woman who had a man in her life for 6 months, and he shot and killed 2 of her children, shot 3. And it's just important that we believe our children. And that's what you're saying. I really have so much respect for you, admiration, and heart. I thank you for sharing. And we're going to be back. So don't sign off, because we're going to have some questions. And I saw you, Lisa. Lisa's all in it. And I saw Sister Keisha, the doctor, and Sister Tracy. That both testimonies, powerful. I tell you what, when I look at my sisters that have survived, I'm just like, y'all better go on. Because it takes a lot of courage to keep going past all of these life experiences. But anyway, we have our third guest on tonight, Sister Tammy Mobley. She is a blessing. She has rocked the runway doing Silent Tears No More, at least on 3 occasions. And I think one year she said, do you want to give somebody else? You want to give somebody else a chance? But she's been rocking with us for a long time. And she is the CEO, founder, executive director of Flawless Imperfections and Real Girl Z. And we're just happy to have you. Welcome tonight, Tammy, to Sisters Love Talk. Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. I apologize. I tell everyone, like, February and December are my busiest months. So I actually just hopped off of another call doing teen dating violence awareness for youth. And that's what I've just been doing almost every day this month. I am a domestic violence survivor and a sexual assault survivor. And as Sister Carolyn said, the name of my organization is Flaws and Imperfections. And the reason why it's named that is because I believe as women, we walk around flawlessly imperfect. We put our makeup on and our lashes and our hair and everything, but inside some of us are broken, but we don't want to show people that we're broken because we want to be flawless. I am the founder of Real Girls Responsible, Empowered, and Loved. And what I do is I provide character and leadership development classes each week to middle school and high school girls, and with a strong emphasis on healthy relationships. And prior to COVID, I was in the schools, but now COVID is out there to allow me to work with these girls. I'm contracted with public schools to work with these girls because they know that they need it, right? They know, especially because we're in COVID, that they need the social and emotional help that we need to provide for them. We know that abuse is on the rise because they're in the houses now. They're unable to leave because of whatever situation, you know, the parents are home being abused and they're seeing all of this stuff. Like I said, I'm a domestic violence survivor, but I was in unhealthy relationship as a teenager. I've seen my father abuse my mother many, many times. So I didn't even know what a healthy relationship looked like. And I ended up being in numerous unhealthy relationships. And until the person that abused me, the only reason that it ended was that he committed suicide after abusing me. And I receive phone calls all the time from women. And actually just last week, I received a phone call from a woman that is in an abusive situation. And it's hard for her because her abuser is a police officer. So he has so much access to everything. He's already gone into her phones and everything, deleted information off of it. Every time she goes to court, she doesn't have anything. And it was hard because she's saying, I don't know, I want to leave. And I'm like, you need to get a safety plan. You need to get out of here. And then she said, well, how did you end your abuse? How did it end? And I had to say, well, it actually didn't end. It just stopped because he committed suicide. Because I would probably still be on the run right now, you know, just to feel that fear. So that's what my passion is, to work with, especially young girls. I became a teen mom, you know, to show them like know your worth, know your love. Like people don't even think about it. Like we're thinking that, I know you, I think it's Chris, I can't see your name, that how you became promiscuous. And one of the things that I tell my girls is that we can judge a person. Like we see somebody with a short skirt on and we automatically want to call them a negative name, right? We want to call them a thought or whatever it is that they're calling people now, not realizing because they've gone through something in the past, is that's where they are right now. So that's what I do. But I also teach healthy relationship skills to boys, because I know we talk a lot about girls, but our males we need to listen to this also, because they're growing up to being the abusers, you know, and some of them are abused as well. So I want to share a story that I'm a mom of a teenager. He just turned 18 years old. But last year, he's driving now, but he wasn't driving before. And I went out of town, and my husband and I went out of town, and we had asked him to get a ride home. So he was getting a ride home from a girl, but when he got to her car, she didn't open her door. And he didn't tell me this until like a month later, and she didn't open her door. And I said, he said, well, why you not open the door? And she said, well, the boy that she was dating didn't want my son in her car. So he got to the door to get ready to open it, and she didn't want him in the car. So my son said he thought she was joking at first, like, come on, open the door. And she said, no, but if you get in, you got to sit in the back seat. because this young man that she was dating did not want my son in the car. And my son and her have been friends for a very long time. They were just platonic friends. And then he told me, he said he got in the car because he felt like he wasn't going to get home any other way. And I was like, you could call an Uber. But when he told me that, then I said, so what did you think about that situation? He said, well, I kind of understand because they're dating. And I'm like, what? Like, I'm an advocate. Like, I talk about relationships all the time, but you thought this was okay. Like, what do you hear when I'm speaking? And that's when it dawned on me to say, like, you know what, we really, really have to pour into not only our girls, but in our boys as well. Like, they have to hear the same message that we're telling our girls. We need to tell our boys about healthy relationships, because what they're thinking is a healthy relationship, and in our mind, what we're knowing is not a healthy relationship, they're thinking, oh, it's okay. You know, I understand because she doesn't want another guy in a car. But what I had to say to him is like, she's 17 years old. That's not her car, right? That's her parents' car, right? She's not paying car notes. She's not paying insurance. That's her parents' car. So I don't know how much time I have. I don't want to keep on rambling, but I just want to say that we need to educate our boys as well as our girls. I could tell you that two of the hardest times talking to young adults is one when I had a mentoring organization in Maryland, and I moved here I'm in Virginia right now. And one of my girlfriends said, she called me, she said, I'm sorry to hear about your mentee. And I didn't understand what she was saying, because I'm thinking, how did she know about somebody I'm doing in Virginia? And she said, you didn't hear, like, she was murdered last night by her boyfriend. So that, and I cried for a whole week. And then about 2 years ago, I was doing healthy relationship classes, and I went on vacation for a couple of days, and I came back, and one of my students was murdered by his stepfather, trying to protect his mom. So his stepfather killed him and the mother, but he was there trying to protect her. So that's the reason why I keep doing it. That's the reason why I'm speaking to youth about being in healthy relationships, because they are our future. And if they don't see it, if they don't hear it, they won't know what a healthy relationship is like. So that's my spiel, Sister Carolyn. Thank you so much.
Tammy, thank you so much for sharing. My God, you all have experienced so much pain, but I think it has really been the catalyst to your passion and your purpose. And I'm so grateful that you're here. I'm so grateful that you all have shared. And now we're going to have our sister Tracy. We're going to have a discussion. And I want everybody to feel free to share. You all have given so many great nuggets that I hope families will take away from this and use this to help them to help their scholars and their young people make healthier choices. Tracy, you want to lead us moving forward? Tracy, unmute yourself, dear.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Wow. Oh my God. I'm literally full, because it's amazing how beautiful we all are, but it's amazing how tragic our past was. And I thank God that we don't look like what we've been through. And one of the things that has really resonated with me is when our children are grown, when they're kids, we teach them to tell the truth. We teach them not to lie. And it really hit me now, because you never know when that truth is coming out your mouth is going to be needed. Well, kids lie just to be with whatever reason, and they don't realize how detrimental telling a lie is. Because when something like this really happens, just like when the lady said, her grandparent didn't believe them, we have to really drill in our kids' minds, tell the truth at all times. Me and my son, when he was growing up, I think he was about 14 or 15, I always told him, if as long as you tell me the truth, will be no punishment. I don't care what it was, just tell me the truth the first time. Don't make me have to pull nothing out of you. If you tell me the truth, then I will not punish you. I don't care what you did. If you got suspended from school, whatever happened, just tell me the truth. And we have to drill that in our kids at a very young age, because that is horrific to, Chris, you didn't want to lose your father, and this man did this to you, and then that put that fear in you. At 5 years old, I don't remember things like that at 5, but that is a traumatic experience. And it's amazing how we, when I first wrote my book, God has showed me this example. We're standing up straight. We go through our day, but in his eyes, we have so much on us that we should be like bent over, because we have so much shame, guilt, all this bad stuff on us. It's amazing that we can stand up straight. But it's only by the grace of God that we can, stand forth, come forth and speak. But I really want to commend you ladies. Oh my God. I am too a domestic violence survivor. And I had questions here, but you all answered every question that I actually had on my notepad. So, Carolyn, I'm truly like at a loss for words, because I was holding back because I didn't want to cry, because I am truly a crybaby. I think since I've come out and shared my story, I cry more. When I hear people's stories, it's not that I'm still hurting, because God knows I'm not hurting. It's been years and I'm so grateful to be alive. I can't tell you. I tell people all the time, freedom tastes so good. But I cry because, can you imagine, we're just a small group of people. If you imagine everybody that has passed away probably has a story to tell us, from, it's been handed down. My mom probably was abused. My daddy probably was, he was abused. He was abusive to my mom. So it's a cycle. And we do have to reach our kids, because we have got to end this cycle. We have got to end the cycle. And I'm just like, you all are just, oh my God, it's just so beautiful. And I can't not wait to get on my knees tonight to just give God the glory and just thank him for everybody. Our smiles are beautiful. Our skin is beautiful. Our eyes are like bright, because we've gone through the pain and we really have lived through it. And we truly survived. We're not bitter. People always think just because, I say you must be old bitter. No, I'm not. I'm just, that part of life, honestly, sometimes if I don't read my own book, I even forgot about it, because it seemed like it's so far removed, but it happened. So I don't ever want to not forget what happened to me, because the empathy that I have, it has to come forth towards someone that's hurting. I don't care how far we get, we always have to remember the pain that somebody else is going through. We can't forget that pain. I remember what it was like to be in that prison, being abused by my husband. This person stood before my pastor to say he was going to love, honor, and cherish. But he did the complete opposite. So they need to have a wedding to say, okay, if you're not going to do this, then, because he did none of the vows, absolutely none of the vows. But I'm just so honored. Carolyn, thank you for allowing me to be on tonight. Amongst these, I have to give y'all some kudos, because y'all really went through, and I'm so grateful to know you, to have met you, and thank you so much for your heartfelt stories. And I'm just ready to help anybody. I'm just ready to, and like you said, my heart is to the guys too. I really want to know what makes you, why can't you stop? Why can't you not hit? Why do you have to hit and then you okay? Why do you have to even get that far? And I used to tell my husband all the time, I'm not worth you going to jail. I'm not worth you, he always would say, you know, if you don't want to live, well, then kill yourself. I ain't gonna look, trust me, I wasn't gonna stop you. You know, that's what you wanted to do, go right on. I would, trust me, I wasn't gonna stop him. But I didn't, at the time, I didn't know my worth, but I know it now. And I see the signs. And as soon as I cut people off, they like, oh, you know, you can say what you want, but I'm gonna stop it just before it gets any further. So, you know, Carolyn, unfortunately, my little 4 questions that I had down, y'all done answered all of them. I started to stop and say, Lisa, stop. That's my question 3. Lisa, don't say nothing else. But I'm like, she kept going. I was like, okay, let me scratch that one out. Okay. Then here come Chris. Oh, Chris. I'm like, okay, well, dang, that was number 1. So I'm like, okay. And, you know, everybody just brought it home. So we got what 6 minutes? So I'm not gonna shut up, and I'm gonna let y'all go on and say.
You know, Tracy, you brought up some really good points. But one of the questions I want to ask all of our panelists and my Dr. Mitchell, who's joining us as well, welcome. I want to ask you all, what is it that we can do to change the conversation or help our community understand the impact of what teen dating violence looks like? How can we make a better impact? What can we do differently? And I also want to acknowledge, thank you, Chris, because one of the things that I wanted to share is the theme for the National Teen Dating Violence of 2021 is worthy. I am worthy. And that is their theme for this year. But you all, what can we do differently as a community to address the teen dating violence? We can start with you, Lisa.
You know, one of the things we can do and should be doing is reaching youth earlier. Okay. By the time they're in high school, it's too late. I just like, and some of you all work with teens as well, and it's too late. I'm sorry. And oftentimes we're not allowed to get into the school systems, not even at the junior high school level. We need to be reaching our children at 4 and 5 years old. We really do, or maybe earlier than that. And I think one of the other things too is I'm an individual who I don't learn, and I can't take anything away unless it's through truth and transparency. Meaning, if you come to me and you're mentoring me, or we're going out and about and you're just saying, hey, well, I'm a survivor too, that won't help me. And it definitely won't help our teens because they're more savvy than we are. Well, what have you been through? What did you survive? We really need to get down to, like, I know I'm sounding crazy, but the nitty-gritty of things. Mm-hmm. We have to be open. We have to share truth, and we have to share transparency. And if you don't do that with these teens, you've lost them. You have absolutely lost them. And you have to make sure, or we all have to make sure that we have, we give them an open line of communication. You know, there are just times when I have to just let my daughter be honest and just speak whatever it is on her mind, and however it is she has to say it, without me thinking as a parent that she's being disrespectful. So we really just have to be open, honest, transparent, and we have to meet them where they are. And we have to also allow them to gain, they want to gain our respect. We think that they're just supposed to give us respect because we're an adults, and it just doesn't work that way. It really doesn't. We're just dealing with a different breed.
Yeah. And to piggyback off of what you said, and the question being, you know, what can we do as a community? We need to go back to that old saying, it takes a village. Right now, I know that some parents are like, you better not touch my child, and such and such and such and such. And it's not about laying hands on a child, but it's about being that trusted adult. Because if all the children and all the teenagers now, and no disrespect to my grandma, because she only did what she knew. You know, she was only doing what she knew. But if all of our teenagers are being raised by my grandma, then they don't have that trusted person. They don't have that person that's going to believe them. They don't have that person that they can share their truths with. So it takes a village. And I I appreciate being able to be an adult that will have that conversation with a younger person without judgment, without ridicule, without victim blaming. And my day job, I do educate students in the schools. We're doing virtual learning now, but it's something called Green Dot, where we talk about violence prevention and bystander intervention and safe ways to be involved when you see something happening. And then that whole saying, if you see something, say something. You know, I think as a community, we need to come together to protect young people, because those are the people who are going to end up protecting us at some point. And if my child is continuously blaming me for something that happened, trust and believe, mama not going to be living at home with that baby when she gets old. You know, they're like, no, you didn't protect me. You can go on to the nursing home. I mean, that might be extreme, but I'm just saying those relationships are important. And if your child can't trust you, there needs to be some people in the community that the child can trust.
That's true.
I totally agree. What about you, Sister Tammy? What can we do as a community? Unmute yourself, dear.
Okay, I would say continue what we're doing. Like, Carolyn, you see me all the time on social media with my girls, and I work from elementary school all the way through. I've even gone to jails and spoke to men with me and my husband, so they can even see. And you'll be surprised, even when I go into the jails, how men would say to us, they ask us how long we've been married, and we say 10 years, and they've never even known anybody been married that long. You know, and these are men that's in 40, 50 years older. They're asking us to come inside the jail. And I do speak to elementary school students. I have people asking me, what I just got off with elementary school students in a healthy relationship. So people ask all the time, but I do agree that we have to be transparent. But however, like, I was a youth program director for a nonprofit organization before I started my own stuff. And I had a team underneath me, and we would reach 500 youth each year. Like, we would go into the schools, and not one of those youth knew I was a domestic violence survivor. Not one of them. And that's because my passion came through without even me sharing my testimony, right? Because with kids, I didn't want them coming online, and I don't want it to be about me. I wanted it to be about them and listening to their story. And as I was a peer counselor for domestic violence survivors, also I ran a shelter, I'm in a domestic violence agency. And one of the things that they tell us is that we couldn't even share our story, because they say, we don't want you to share your story, because once you start sharing your story, it's about, but let me hear about you. We taking it off of ourselves, taking it off of them and bringing it on ourselves. So I'm not saying that we can't share our story, but there's still a way that we can navigate without sharing your whole story. So these kids to know, yeah, this person is real. This person understands me. This person I could talk to. And I could tell you, ever since COVID hit, I have faithfully 15 girls that sign up for my class every single Thursday at 5 p.m. Even if they're online all day long, they are on my class every day, even before I get on there, just trying to listen to what Miss Tammy have to say. And I don't even have to push it. When I have new girls on, they be like, Miss Tammy class is this, because they know that they could share. They know that they could talk about anything they want to talk about. So I would think, like, educate our youth, but then have that youth start talking to other youth, because we are getting older and we're not going to be able to talk all the time. So educate them so they can educate other people.
I love that. I love that. You all are some bad mamma jammas. Y'all so smart. Y'all are so smart. Dr. Mitchell, what you got going on over there in Charleston, South Carolina? That was awesome. All of you. What you got?
Just being quiet and just amazed at all these beautiful women's stories. And I've been like just sharing some things in the chat just about, as a I grew up in a home with domestic violence, but I personally didn't experience it, as myself. But I've worked in elementary schools and middle schools, and I mean, you will be surprised that even in elementary and middle schools, students are experimenting with sexual play and sexual touch. I had a sixth grader who thought it was okay that she was giving oral sex to a group of boys in a bathroom, and they videotaped it and shared it. And so sixth grade, 12 years old, and she thought that was okay. And one of the things I put in the chat is we have to monitor and listen to what our children are watching and what they're listening to, because a lot of the music, a lot of what they're watching right now, it glorifies some of that sexual violence and some of the domestic violence. You know, they're watching reality TV and seeing, you know, all this violence, throwing clothes away, fighting, throwing drinks on each other. And they're thinking that that's what a healthy relationship looks like. And when you're listening, they're hearing songs that some of them I'm just listening like, what? A song somebody let me listen to a couple weeks ago called, but it's called Throat Baby. And I was like, what is that? What are they talking about? And when somebody actually broke it down to me, that the rappers were talking about, you know, girls giving them oral sex and swallowing. And so, you know, if that's what our children are listening to and they're bopping and they're jamming and they're singing the lyrics, it becomes internalized. And they internalize that, and that's what they believe, that's what they start doing because it's popular. So we have to start listening and monitoring. We can't be there all the time, but we have to start saying like, let me listen to this song. What are they actually saying? Let me sit down and watch this with you so that we can start having those types of dialogues. But I just take my hats off to everyone on the panel. I mean, it's just bomb, just amazing. And you know, I have a group called the Overcomers Tribe where, you know, we talk about, you know, old adults that have been through trauma, that have been through domestic violence, but they're survivors. We're overcomers. So we focus on life after, you know, any type of, you know, issue or any type of thing that you've had to overcome. We talk about being an overcomer and being a survivor and thriving after that, because there's always an after that. There's always life after. So I just, you know, I'm here if anyone needs me for anything, but I just take my hats off. I've been amazed and blown away. And thank you so much for inadvertently inviting me, but I'm glad I was
here. I'm glad you're on. I'm glad you're on. As you all know, orange is the symbolic color for National Teen Dating Violence. I want to thank all of our guests, but I also want to invite you. Is there anyone that has a closing word they would like to share before we close off tonight in tonight's call?
I think we all probably do. Mine is to just remind young people, girl, boy, whatever the case may be, is that you are not your abuse. Whatever happened to you does not define you, and do not allow it to dictate the adult that you become. So use your voices.
I love that. I love that.
You know, as I just sit here and I just think about us living through a pandemic, and most of us don't feel as though our voices can be heard because we have to wear masks. Now we have to wear 2 masks. And, you know, we go about our daily lives and oftentimes folk will say, I can't hear you. Can you speak up? So I just want to leave everyone with this who's listening in tonight. Speak through the mask. Whatever your mask is, low self-esteem, domestic violence, sexual assault, incest, embarrassment, not feeling worthy, whatever your mask is, speak through the mask. Someone is listening. Someone cares. Someone can relate. Never silent. Speak through the mask.
Wow. That's good right there.
Yeah, I really, really love that, what you said, speak through the mask, because that's actually my theme for my students this month. And I deliver activity packages. And you'll be surprised. I'm giving them all masks, and that is my theme. So I really like that. I'm going to steal that from you, saying speak through the mask. But they will all, like, I don't know if I'll be able to deliver it tomorrow because it's supposed to get bad weather. But this is part of the activity packages. Our theme this time is using your voice. And I really like that. We'll be speaking through the mask. Thank you so much for that.
How about use your voice, speak through the mask? Or is that too much, y'all?
I love that. Use your voice. I love that. I love it.
Well, I want us to all post that on all of our social media and all of our other, you know, communications. What do we say again? Use your voice.
Use your voice. Yes. Speak through the mask.
I like that. There is so much power in this group, so much synergy. I have so much I want to share with you all that has been given to me tonight while I heard you all speak. I made a promise to one of our partners who is a founder of the Alliance of Concerned Men here in Washington, D.C. And I love Brother Rico Rush. And he asked me, Lisa, this is the year you put up your arms and you walk down that runway. He pulled me aside and said, Carolyn, I need you to do a documentary. I need you to do a film. And I have the people that can help you do the film. That was the very last Silent Tears he attended, and he has since transitioned because he was ill, but he had been to all of them. So I just want to give you all just an invitation. I am going to do that documentary. Anthony and I have just spoken about it last week, but you all, I definitely would love to be in it. And it will be 7 or less women, because 7 is my number for those that don't know. And I want to take you all on a course where we will help set folks free through this powerful work. So I would like to just extend that invitation, put it on your prayer altar, but I definitely want you all in this documentary.
Whatever you need, whatever you need, I am so right there.
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I thank you all so much for being a part of tonight. We will be back again. We do this every month. I thank you, Sister Tracy. I didn't get your words, sweetie. I didn't mean to ignore you. Forgive me. Did you have anything you wanted to share before we close out tonight?
I don't want them to be embarrassed or ashamed to come forth, because that will keep it bottled up. Don't bottle it up.
Absolutely.
So that's all.
And just know you're not alone. And you don't deserve it, and you are worthy. I thank you all for being on. We will be back again next month for what month? March, Women History Month. We will have another support group meeting for an hour, and I thank you all. I appreciate you all. God bless you. And if you all have any questions or any concerns, reach out to us at Sisters for Sisters at AOL.com is our email, or contact the Sisters for Sisters. But also, I want to get your contact information, ladies. Lisa, how can people reach you?
I can be reached on Facebook, Lisa Council, COUNCIL.
Amen. And please check out, Lisa has a fantastic podcast. Tammy, what you got going? How can we tune into you?
My Instagram is Tammy and Mobley, and I do have a radio show, Beyond Survivor with Tammy, where I recognize, empower, and support survivors. It is a podcast and is a live radio show, so you can listen to it. And Facebook is Beyond Survivor with Tammy.
Yeah. And how about you, Chris?
So our web address is IamKassie, KASSIE.org. You can find me on Facebook. My name is spelled KHRYS, not with a C or an I, but a K and Y. And I am on Carolyn's friends list. And so if you ever need anything from me, if you need me to bring the couch to wherever you are, we do travel. We're a mobile initiative. So just reach out. We are there.
I love that. I love that. And my Dr. Keisha, how can we reach you? You have your contact.
I'm on Facebook as Makelia Mitchell, Makelia Keisha Mitchell. Keisha's my nickname. I'm on Facebook, but we do have a website, and it is the docmdm.com or the overcomerstribe.com. Either one connects with us, but we would love to hear and connect with everyone. And I'm also on Sister Carolyn's list, and so whatever I can do, wherever I can serve, let me know.
Amen. And Sister Tracy, the author and speaker, advocate.
You can reach me on Facebook. I am on Facebook. I am Tracy Jefferson. I am. Me and Lisa friends, Aunt Lisa.
We're sisters. We're sisters.
You can email me, TracyJefferson30@yahoo.com.
As we close out tonight, I want to remind everybody, this month is the month of love, and every month is the month of love. Our theme is, it's all about love. You all have a blessed night. And remember, you are worthy. Oh, so worthy. Have a blessed night, everybody. Thank you.
See ya.
Tired of being